Hello and a warm good morning everyone present here. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar titled Developing Personal Resources to Build Up Resilience. I would like to cover up a few housekeeping rules before we get started. Kindly mute the audio to avoid any disturbance during the session. Unmute only when necessary or if the resource person asks to do so. You may keep your video in active mode so that the presenter is able to see the audience. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box in your control panel. The facilitator will bring them up during the presentation or hold it for the discussion portion at the end of the session. Thank you. A program is blessed when we invoke God's presence into it. Let us begin the program through a prayer seeking the blessing of the Lord led by Ms. Anju Joseph.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we are gathered together. Oh gracious God, help us to be curious about the world around us. Help us to be prepared. Help us to be open. Help us to be determined. Help us to be responsible. Allow us steadfast inner strength to find ourselves when we need it most. Prompt us to pull our resilience to the surface. We know that our ability to be resilient comes from you, O Lord. We pray that through your divine guidance, we would learn how to listen attentively to the inputs of our speaker. Bless him abundantly. May we appreciate his effort in imparting his knowledge to us. May we participate actively in the discussions so we could learn more. Keep us physically safe and guard our hearts and minds. Bless this gathering and all those present. This prayer we ask in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Anju. A warm welcome is not just a welcoming smile, but it is a good start. Welcome creates positive feelings in us. At the very outset of this webinar, it is our desire to extend a gracious and an inclusive welcome to you all. I request our beloved principal to welcome the audience on behalf of St. Aloysius Institute of Education.
Thank you, Anisha. On behalf of our management, I deem it my privilege and pleasure to welcome my good friend, Mr. Leo Lobo, for this session on developing personal resources, on developing resilience. I am very happy that he has taken the time to be with us and grateful for sharing his expertise with us. He is an internationally well-known figure and a master in the field of neuro-linguistic programming, and at a personal level has been a great source of help to me many, many times. And I know that he is a very generous soul and he willingly shares whatever knowledge he has. So on behalf of all my staff here, I extend a warm welcome to you, Mr. Leo Lobo. A warm welcome to my staff, especially to Mrs. Josna, the convener of this program, and also a warm welcome to my students. Most of them are here, and I'm hoping that they would join, and also to my ODL students who have joined here. A warm welcome to all of y'all. I would like y'all to make the best use of this 1-hour session. And if you have questions, please feel free to ask, because I know Mr. Leo Lobo is always willing to address any questions that you have. So once again, a warm welcome to one and all.
Thank you, ma'am, and a gracious welcome to you as well. Now I request Mrs. Josna Bolar, the webinar in charge, to introduce the resource person to the audience.
I take great pleasure to introduce Professor Leo Lobo, the speaker of this session, to you all. Professor Leo Lobo has received his training in Neuro-Linguistic Program, NLP, from Dr. Richard P. McHugh, who brought the art of NLP to India in the early 1980s. He has more than 2 decades of experience in working with people in their quest for a better life through improving self-awareness and communication. Professor Leo has used his skills in creating and delivering high performance results in the field of corporate training and coaching both in India and overseas in areas of personality development, leadership, communication skills, team building, and counseling. He regularly conducts programs on acquiring NLP skills besides experimental labs that helps rejuvenate people after overcoming issues related to health, workplace stress, limiting beliefs, and trauma. Professor Leo is also a trained and certified counselor in Gestalt therapy and photo language from the Don Bosco Communication Center at Lyons in France. The Association of Neuro-Linguistic Programming, an international organization in NLP, has honored him as a finalist in education and teaching at London in 2019. His mission over the past 2 decades has centered on experiencing and spreading joy and happiness through creative interventions in both personal and professional lives of people at large. Currently, he serves as the Chief Executive Office, Exodia in Bangalore. We are really fortunate to listen to him today. Once again, a hearty welcome to Professor Leo.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
ma'am.
very much.
Thank you, sir.
Resilience isn't a single skill. It's a variety of skills and coping mechanisms to adapt to new circumstances when life presents the unpredictable. The worldwide outbreak of COVID-19 has been a source of unexpected stress and adversity for many people. The fact that we have no clear finish line adds to the ambiguity and resultant tension. Therefore, we need to exercise personal and organizational resilience strategies to effectively complete this long pause. It will not happen unless we make it happen. Today's session is all about building up our resilience by interacting with our unique individual genetic makeup to experience positive outcomes during this difficult phase. Now, without further ado, we will turn the time over to Professor Leo Lobo. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Anisha. It was wonderful being with you. And thank you, Anju and Joshua. Anju for the prayer and Joshua for the introduction. Well, I'm sorry, 15 minutes, I think we lost. My internet went off suddenly. I have no idea. When something could go, it will. Isn't it true? So possibly this is the beginning of our talk today is how resilient we were during that time. It's interesting to ask, please ask yourself, what happened to you when my internet went off? What happened to you? What happened in your mind? What are the thoughts? What are the feelings? It would be nice if somebody, one person expressed that. Anyone. Just unmute and express. What happened to you? Suddenly what happened? I went off the screen. I don't know what happened there. I called Rini. I called Farita. Farita, I told her, okay, this is what happened. She said, okay, do this, something she said. Anyway, can somebody share with me what happened to you?
So when your internet went off, we just waited because I think now we're so used to not being in control of any situation. The best thing to do is just wait it out.
You just waited. The thought was, okay, I was not in control about that. Just wait.
You've just been waiting
Yes,
for something.
yes, Satya.
So
Thank you. Thank you for sharing this.
Turning in a moment's notice, at a moment's notice. So we just waited.
Okay, just waited. Well, in this context, probably you waited. This is a very simple thing. Imagine something else would have happened. Right?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
No, because I had some internet technical issues from my side as well. So I was a little relieved. So just the thought that, I didn't miss out on anything yet.
Okay, Celia. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I wanted to. Okay. All of you asked this question. What happened to you? You don't have to share. Some thoughts happened, right? Some thoughts happened. For Celia, it was okay. Even I had problem. So relief came in. Abba, his internet is also fine. Means I have a problem. Somebody else is having a problem. Nice. Okay, I'm relieved. Just check all these aspects. What's happening in the mind? That's what is important. What happens in your mind? Every thought coming to your mind generates a feeling. And that feeling controls our behavior. So it's thought, feeling, and my behavior. Well, I'm walking on the road. It happened yesterday. I was walking on the road. Suddenly, I heard a screechy sound. I jumped up, thinking that is somewhere close to me. It was not close to me. Then I really got relieved. The jumping up happened because I said, oh my God, something happened. Somebody is braking. Thought, feeling was, I was maybe scared. I was scared. So behavior was jumping up. Well, people can shout at me. You know, somebody calls me, oh, you calls me something. Okay. I get angry. Thought, anger is the response. That's the feeling. And my behavior is what I do with my feeling. So please understand this: thought, feeling, and behavior. Well, I'm glad most of you are going to be teachers. You know, one section of the people in this world I like is our teachers. For many reasons. I was a teacher, I married a teacher, and I love teachers. Okay. So I'm glad that I'm spending some time with you, because teachers, for me, every teacher doesn't only teach. Every teacher's role is not to teach, for me, as far I'm concerned, not to teach, but to touch the lives of the people. So how far we are touching the lives of the people, that's important. And today's context is we are in a situation for the past almost 5 months, lockdown, unlocking, and a lot of things happening. Our mind is clogged, maybe fear is in the air. We have social distancing, which is moving on to social isolation and discrimination. How do you control your mind? What happens to your thoughts and what happens to your feeling? In the context of today, we are challenged even to relate with people. I was traveling one day. I called somebody and asked that person, I want to come home. Immediately this person said, no, please. We have children at home. I said, okay, fine. I respected that. But the fear is in the forefront. How do you handle our thoughts? How do you handle our mind? How do you handle our behavior? Well, what is resilience is important to understand. Now, I have a paper. You see this paper in front of me. Okay. I push both the hands. Nothing happened to the paper till I snap it up with higher pressure. You can see that nothing happens, but if I use more force, it breaks up. This is the reality. This can happen to our mind. This can happen to anybody. Challenges crush us to that extent. But when we do not exercise the skill of resilience, we might break. I would like to tell you a story to begin with. This story, actually an experience shared by one author called Arthur Gordon. Arthur was in a big problem and he was completely confused what to do. He calls up his friend and tells him, Ken, I want to be with you for some time. I want to talk to you. Ken agrees. All right. Come along, he says. He goes to Ken and shares with him his problem. After spending a substantial amount of time, Arthur finds a solution for his problem. And he was amazed at the skill of Ken. He asked him, hey, how come you are so calm and cool, and you used your wisdom to ask me some questions which helped me to discover my own answer? How do you keep yourself like this? For that, Ken said, all those skills, what I used on you, maybe my wisdom, maybe my calmness, is coming from this little box. He shows Ken a little box like this. A simple box. So the secret is inside of that. And he continues. He continues his story and saying, see, I was a stockbroker at Wall Street in US. Big stockbroker, and I made money. They called me as a wonder boy of the stock market. I made enough money in millions, and I spent the money equally. I bought properties on the seashores, spent lavishly. In the process, I got married to a young, beautiful woman, not because I loved her, because she added charm to my life and she had value to my personality, because I never felt I could love anybody other than myself, he said. And Wall Street crash happened. You all know Wall Street crash happened, and I lost everything overnight. He continued. I lost everything. From a millionaire, from being a millionaire, I became a pauper. And my beautiful wife left me. I moved into my house on the beach and started drinking. I had no hope. Everything I had lost. Completely, I lost everything. I had no hope. And I started drinking continuously for 3 days. And I could hear the waves as if they were calling me. So one day I decided I quit. I planned my death. I started thinking, next day morning I'll get up, have good breakfast, and swim into the sea as far as possible till the waves take over. And he had good amount of drinks that night. And next day morning, when he woke up, even nature was probably supporting him, seemed to be supporting him, because weather was very turbulent next day morning. Nonetheless, he started walking towards the sea, and he saw huge waves rolling over the seashore, as if they were inviting me. He's continued like that. I saw the waves as if they were inviting me. And I stood on the sand, about to walk into the waters. As I took my first step, I saw something shining on the sand. I bent down and picked it up. Then he opened his box and said, Gordon, this is what you have inside this. He opened it. And Arthur picked up something shining. It was a seashell, just a part of the seashell. It was so thin. At one place, it was like a thin tissue paper, but it was not broken. He continued the story, and I picked it up, and I saw that seashell. And I looked at the waves. Then I realized something is happening with the waves and the seashell. How come with such high tide waves, this seashell did not break at all? How come? How come the waves would have thrown it off the shore, yet this remained intact? He said, I asked this question to myself. For some time, I didn't find the answer. Then everything came loud and clear. Then I saw some shells on the waves. Then I realized the seashell did not fight the wave. It was just floating along the wave. It did not fight. Everything came together. He said to Gordon, I realized that this seashell, however thin it was, it didn't fight with the waves. It just floated along. Here I am, fighting, getting frustrated, angry, miserable, and fighting against the miseries. When I looked at the sea waves and the shell, I realized that this anger, this frustration, this bitterness has no role to play in my life because it did not help at all. So I took my step back, picking up the shell, and I preserved this inside of this. And I moved on. Here I am with you today. Gordon was surprised. He asked Ken, what do you call this shell as? He said, this shell, I call it as wing of the angel. My story is very simple, my dear friends. In our lives, many things can happen. Some things can throw us off balance. Small things, big things. How do we handle that? There we require the skill of resilience. What do we do? Where do we learn? How do we learn? All of you, most of you are going to become teachers, and I was told also that there are other friends are also invited into this session. Teacher's life is a life of resilience for me. I was a teacher. I was teaching in a college in Bangalore. There are two types of students in a class. One, they are really good to you. They listen to you. They really do something for themselves. Whatever you say, they understand. There's the other type. They are there, yet they are not there. They may irritate you. How do I manage? What happens to my mind? What happens to my thoughts? That's the question I need to ask. How do I handle them? There comes the skill of resilience. Am I flexible? It may be in the family. You may be receiving good things, or rather love, affection, understanding. At the same time, you may receive criticism, ridicule, belittlement. What do I do? How do I respond? I have an organization called Exodia. We do a lot of work with people, handling their mental health. We are in the field of mental health, and every day we release one video in our web page and also in Facebook. Today's video was mine. I was talking about what happens to us when people belittle us, when people criticize us for no reason at all, when people shout at us, whatever it is. What do I do? How do I respond? There I gave a metaphor of an eagle and a crow. Crow is the one bird which can sit on the eagle and peck its neck and hurt the eagle. But eagle never fights the crow. Never ever fights the crow. It knows it's waste to fight with a silly crow. So what it does, just focuses on its strengths. It has got strengths. One strength is soar high in the sky. So it just knows it doesn't want to waste any energy on this crow. So it just rises up, goes up in the sky. And what happens? Because it belongs to that height. Eagle knows how to fly at that height. But the crow, no experience of flying high. It can't even breathe at that time. And it just falls off the eagle. Eagle didn't fight, nothing. It just focused on its strengths. Consequent is that the crow fell off. Are we like an eagle? Or are we worried, anxious, angry, bitter when we go through these challenges? I'm in the field of neuro-linguistic programming. Neuro stands for brain, neurons. Linguist, language. Programming is like computer program. Okay, we program ourselves in our mind. A lot of things happen to us. Right from the childhood, we experience, and these experiences become our programs, our beliefs, our attitudes. To give a little idea about this and link it to resilience, I would like to really tell you a little bit of NLP. It began in early 70s in the University of California. Credit goes to two young men, Richard Bandler and John Grinder, who were studying under Gregory Bateson anthropology. Bandler, mathematician, Grinder, a linguist. And they, in the class, asked a simple question which changed the entire dynamics of their thinking. Gregory was doing some work with mental health patients, like schizophrenic patients. Schizophrenia is a mental health disorder. So mental disorder where people see or hallucinate things. So Gregory was in the hospitals studying patients. So he told his students, you're going to different hospitals. That time, Bandler and Grinder, they said, sir, for what purpose you want us to study sick people? They said, yes, you need to study this. Then they said, this is old understanding. By studying sick people, you will only know how to become sick. Great thought, isn't it? Gregory understands it, and they said, what do you have in your mind? He says, Bandler says that time, sir, let's study excellent people, healthy people, and understand how they become like that. And from there, probably we'll be able to understand the strategies used by these people and train these sick people to use those strategies to come out. Brilliant idea. And they go around studying people. And One person they study is Milton Erickson. It's not Erik Erikson, Milton Erickson, who was an hypnotherapist, psychotherapist, and also we credit NLP to him in many ways. His life itself is a challenge or strange, filled with resilience throughout. Born colorblind, tone deaf, he couldn't hear all the frequencies. He could see only purple color. And with all the possible mental illnesses like ADHD, hypertension, a lot of stuff, breathing disabilities, a lot of things he went through. But mother's love made him survive. And he started growing up with his siblings. He had 7 sisters. And what happened was, when he was around 15, he collapsed and completely got paralyzed below neck. Just watch this, what happens to his mind. When he collapsed at home, mother takes him to the hospital, and doctors testing him give him the verdict. He couldn't move his neck, not the body. He couldn't speak, couldn't move his hands, nothing. Doctors tell him, ma'am, your son will not survive tomorrow's sunrise. Just imagine what would have happened in the boy's mind. He listens to it and he says, anyway, doctor has given the verdict. I have one night. That's what doctor said. Tomorrow's sunrise I may not see. So he decided in his mind, let me see at least the night glow. And he sees his bed far away from the window. So he makes his mother shift his bed from a corner to the window. The question is, how did he do it? He couldn't speak. He couldn't move his hands. He uses his eyes to communicate, and mother understands. Maybe he started blinking the eyes. Maybe he looked at the window, and mother understands, his language, and she establishes a communication with him and shifts his bed to the window. From there he could see the night glow. And that made the change in him. He not only survives next sunrise, but he lived up till 78 years. In the process, medicine did not do anything with him. So they discharged him. Mother takes this crippled child home and puts him with his youngest sibling, sister, few months old. So what did he do? He can't do anything, can't talk, can't move. So he started observing. His eyes were sharp. So he started observing the sister and imitating the sister. Whatever she did, he imitated. You know how little ones crawl, the crawling happens. He started crawling. How little ones sit, he imitated sitting posture. Like that, imitating. When the girl started walking, he started walking. When the girl started talking, he started talking. This is using the strength. He wanted to do something. Okay, let me imitate her. That's resilience. Focusing on my strength when I am down and out. That's the power of resilience. Not only walks and talks, he studies, becomes a doctor. Then he finishes his MD in psychiatry and he starts treating people. Gets married, has children, and again falls into the same sickness. Again gets paralyzed. Fights it again. And in his 60s, he was on the wheelchair, still treating people. This is the power of our mind. When chips are down, can I stand up and look ahead and say, can I move on? That is resilience. And this resilience is learned. How do we learn it? We model it. When the teacher teaches in a class, every student watches the teacher. And that behavior is modeled by the students. So, as a teacher, do I exhibit this behavior? Do I exhibit this trait? That's the question I need to ask. How do I do that? The whole idea here is strengthening your mind. Maybe I would like to ask you, you don't have to share anything. If you have a small paper or a pen with you, just think about a recent event which knocked you down completely. Anything, it could be a small or big event which has put you down as if there was no hope. It could be COVID situation, possible. Maybe someone frightened you. I see in a family, a father was not allowed to visit his own daughter, and father was crying with me. My daughter knows I'm healthy. Just because she has two small children, I stay outside now. I do everything. I go to the market, bring the food items and keep it on the gate, and she takes it up, washes with soap and other things. What are we doing? Where is the world going? For the father, that was a big trauma. His own daughter did not allow him inside the gate. Think of a situation, anything in your life. Something happened to you which disturbed you very much. And maybe just write few words in that paper. You don't have to share anything. What were you feeling at that time? What happened to you? What did you see? What did you hear? What did you feel? Just write it down. Now, probably when you read it, maybe the same fear can come into you, or same feelings can come in. Any feeling, whatever you want, same feelings will come up. Now I want you to focus your attention on past. Somewhere in the past, think of a situation you handled it really well. Maybe it was a tough situation, you handled it. All of us have such situations. Every one of us started walking. How difficult it was to walk at that time, even to take a step, but we did. Maybe we faced a tough situation and we overcame that situation so easily, effortlessly. We had resources at that time. Maybe I was confident, courageous, determined, whatever it is. I want you to focus on one event of the past where you really faced a tough situation and came out successfully. Spend 2 minutes on that and just write down, what did you do? What were the resources you used at that time? Just write down those resources quickly. I'll give you 2 minutes. Resources are internal resources, not external resources. Internal resources like courage, confidence, humor, curiosity, determination, relaxation, patience. What did you do? What resources you used? Okay, once you identified the resources, all of you gently close your eyes and go to that event as if it is happening now. And just experience it for a moment. What are the resources you used? Just close your eyes. And as you're closing your eyes, let these resources come up. And feel that, wow, I used it. I went an extra mile. I faced the challenges. And how did it feel that time? Feel everything. See what you saw there, hear whatever you heard, and begin to experience it as if it is happening now. Well, open your eyes and think of another situation in the past, maybe a small or big one, it doesn't matter, where you had resources again and you handled it. Maybe a tough situation, tough challenge. You faced it and you overcome that. Again, identify those resources. And take the third situation. I'll tell you why we take three situations. Take another situation. Okay, it could be a small situation, maybe in your high school, where you had some tough situation, maybe at home, anywhere, it doesn't matter. I hope all of you got three situations. Now, just a 2 minutes work I want you to do. Close your eyes. Just experience that resourceful situation number one. Experience those resources. Then move to the situation number two. See what you saw there, what you hear, what you felt. Experience those resources as if it is happening now. Then come to the third situation. Again, experience them exactly the way you have experienced. Now feel the resources bubbling inside of you. And with all the resources, come to the present challenge or recent challenge you have faced. See how you can handle it differently with these resources. Get a sense of it inside your body. See how you use these resources. Any resource coming up, very differently. And once you get that, just come back. How does it feel now to look at this situation? I want one person to share. Anybody, quickly. What happened to you during these 5 minutes? I just took 5 minutes to take you through. Anyone who would like to?
So,
Yeah, Celia, yes.
My resources were courage and hard work.
No, that's fine, Celia, that's fine. You use those. When you use those resources and came to this present challenge, how did you feel?
Actually, I feel helpless because the present challenge being, to be frank, unfortunately, our semester is being postponed because of what is going on now, the COVID situation.
Yeah, fine. Okay, I'll come to that. Okay, now, did you do what I said?
Yes.
Okay, did you have resources on the first case?
Yes.
A challenge you faced?
Yes.
How did you feel with these resources at that time?
I felt it really helped me to overcome.
Okay, you did overcome, right? You did overcome.
Yes.
Okay, second one?
Second one also I did overcome.
You did overcome. Third one?
the third one, I had to change my resource, which is patience.
Yeah, you changed it. Whatever you did, no?
Yeah,
What
and
happened
that
to
is
you?
yes, that is helping me right now.
Okay. Now, when you have, just close your eyes for a moment and just
Okay.
go back and just see these resources inside of you. How these resources helped you. And with
Okay.
all the resources, come to the present situation and
Okay.
just experience that. That's all I want. That's nothing else. How does it feel now with pack of resources coming together, helping you to use them? What happens to you?
Uh, yes, it is helping me have a kind of control over my emotions
Oh,
and
that's it.
control,
That's it.
yeah, a better
That's it.
self-control.
That's it. The whole idea here. Thank you. Can I
Yeah,
call you
thank you,
Celia
sir.
or Ursula? Both. Okay. Celia is
Thank
fine.
you, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, thank
Yes,
you.
Celia, that's fantastic. This is what I said. You know, normally what happens is when we are challenged, we are down because we focus on something what we don't have rather than what we have. I give you a simple example. A few years back, I was coming down from Bangalore to Mangalore, and the road was bad on the Ghat section. Around, let's say, maximum, you know, one day I was coming, maximum 14 kilometers was unmotorable. So one day I asked my friends who drove down, I asked them, hey, how is the road? They said, bad man, don't take your car. Terrible. Nonetheless, I had to come to Mangalore. I took the car and came in. And till Hassan, no problem. Hassan to Sakleshpur, no problem again. And I started climbing down. The road was pathetic. No road at all. You know, they say no road, only tod, you know, they say. That's all. So, no road at all. It was unmotorable. Car was crawling. 14 kilometers. Pathetic. After that, again, I reached home, no problem. But they asked, road, how is it? Oh, terribly bad. Then I asked myself, what am I doing? Out of 350 kilometers, 14 kilometers bad. If I take the percentage, it is just 4%. That's all. 4% of the road was pathetic. 96% was good. Then I asked myself, hey, how do I apply to my life? What do I do? Something goes wrong. Okay, yes, it will. Today, internet went off. Yes, it went off. By worrying, getting angry, will I solve that? I waited. Like somebody else also waited. What is the percentage? Now, if I calculate the percentage, that time and this time, not even 10%. Our life also is like that. Challenges, difficulties, if you put them together, maximum 10%. It won't be more. 90% of our life is good. But what happens is our mind focuses only on the negatives. My parents would have brought me up, but one mistake on their part, I still rave about it. I think about it. Oh, you did not give me that when I asked for it. I keep that in mind. One thing out of many things. That is what makes our mind unresilient or non-resilient. Do I focus on the positives rather than the negative? Ask yourself. You are the master of your life, you know. So many good things happening, but one little bad thing helped me focus on my life. Oh, that happened. I only see those spots. The question is, how do I improve resilience? That's important. This is one way. Can I see the blessings rather than the curses? Can I see the positives rather than the negative? Another aspect is to keep my mind fit and strong. So my mind fit and strong makes me very creative. I remember a story about, T.H. O'Connor, a few years back, when Roosevelt was the Prime Minister of US. This guy was made comptroller of currency, means he was designing and printing currency, involved with that. He was officer. And his hometown was happy because it is a big post. So they arranged a party for him, a big party. So this O'Connor came, and the people there were businessmen, business people, and real estate people, actors, actresses, all VIPs of the town were there. And he was, after the initial function, honoring, etc., O'Connor was going around, and he meets one of the prettiest actor of that time. Young, beautiful, dynamic actor. Everybody loved to talk to her. And he goes, greets her, and tells her, well, glad that you are here today, and your presence adds color to the entire setting. Lady was damn pleased because he paid tribute to her beauty. And she in turn responds to him and tells him, sir, we are really proud that you achieved such a high position in politics. And we are proud that one of us have become an officer in this ministry. O'Connor says, thank you. And she continues, and sir, she asks, I was told that you are reprinting the dollars again with a new design on it. Now that question really, made O'Connor a little uncomfortable, but he replies, says, oh, you are well informed lady, young lady, he says. He dodged actually the question. See how the brain works, And immediately this lady did not want to give up. And she says, sir, can I ask you of a favor? Can you ask a favor from you? I was told that you are printing the new notes with new design. Can you please put my profile on the new currency notes? Now that made O'Connor completely uncomfortable. Yet he need to be resilient in his mind and thoughts. Very important. So how do I answer? That was his question. If I snub this lady, that won't be a good idea. Tell her this is none of your business. But you need to communicate to her that is none of her business. That's important. So how cleverly he handles, that's the beautiful way of using the mind. He says, oh, that's a brilliant suggestion, lady. And he saw the glitter in the eyes of the woman. She was really beautiful. That enhanced her beauty, the glitter. And he continues, actually, I feel really sorry that I will not be able to accomplish that desire of yours. Or rather, I will not be able to honor your request. And he continues saying that because my president does not permit hoarding. And by chance, if I print the new notes with your photograph on it, I'm sure all the young men of this country would like to take those new notes with your photograph, and they will never let those notes go loose. Which means the new notes will be out of circulation within no time. How brilliant answer. Lady understood. She got the tribute. At the same time, she understood her question was silly. Using your brain for a change. How do we make our brain very creative that way? which enhances our resilience. Otherwise, we get knocked out completely. Many ways of doing it. One way, you need to keep your mind healthy. That's the most important thing. Healthy from all the junk we store. No, sometimes some things we can throw it out, yet we store them inside our mind. It can be some of the frustrations we went through, some of our failures, so-called failures, some of our disappointments, some of our hurts. We carry them. Maybe a story to understand this. I like stories. There was a farmer who was carrying a load of his produce to the market. Every day he used to go to the market, carrying it on the head. And every day, a truck driver was going in that way, same way. And every day he used to see this farmer carrying the load. Truck driver was going empty to the market to fill his truck with goods. One day he felt pity. He tells the farmer, hey, he stops the truck and asks him, come in, man, hop in. Farmer says, no, I don't have money to give you. He says, no, I don't charge you anything. Come. Farmer enters the truck and the truck driver drives. Halfway through, truck driver hears a gasping sound like that. He got scared. What happened to the farmer? So he stops the truck and comes at the rear end of the truck and looks at the farmer. Farmer in the empty truck was standing with his load on his head. Funny thing, though you and I are like that. Though it is possible for us to keep it down, we carry it. Is it worth it? Please drop your loads down. Unnecessary junk we have. We help many people in our organization, to let go, because NLP techniques are so powerful, really powerful. As a teacher, I learned NLP techniques and it has helped me powerfully to deal with my students, deal with myself, deal with my management, deal with anybody around me, my family. If possible, learn these techniques. It's possible, right? Anywhere you can learn it, learn it. First of all, develop that curiosity. I remember Anju bringing in that aspect today in her prayer beautifully. Lord, help us to be curious. We were all curious as kids. But as we grew up, our curiosity turns into something else. We are curious only to gossip, not to learn. Right? We need to be curious about things around us. Even curious about ourselves, our behaviors, our thoughts. Let's be curious. How do I enhance curiosity? Okay. Knowledge is something which comes to us almost freely, everywhere. Not from WhatsApp University. That knowledge you need to question. Right? Real knowledge. Right now, COVID situation, I see people are scared. What? Scared about deaths. Yeah, how many deaths in our country? Not even 10%, to be precise. And now, actually, I asked one of the health inspector in my area in Bangalore, what was the average death rate in 1 month? Let's say May. He gave me a number. Then I asked him now, how much is the death rate? The variation is very little, minute variation, few numbers more. What are we scared of? Knowledge is important here. Virus, what is virus? People don't even know. Media is spreading lies, making our mind really weak. Actually, virus has no cure. Virus is not even a living organism. It is just a protein molecule covered with a lipid layer. It's like a layer of fat. That's it. You know, in one of the village where I went, I just told these people, they were all scared. Oh, they never allowed anybody coming from Bangalore to that village. I just gave them a little understanding. It's like a seed, maybe a small seed. There's a cover to the seed. You remove the cover and throw it out. That seed will not germinate. They know it. Most of the seeds don't germinate. I tell them this is what happens. A protein molecule, it doesn't have DNA. That's the knowledge we need to have. It only have RNA. It takes the DNA from your cell. So when it goes inside, it takes the DNA and multiplies. That's microbiology tells us. I am not a microbiology student, but I learned that. I studied that. I understood. So what is important is, even if I'm somebody positive is around me, it won't fly by air. That's another fact. Study these facts. Knowledge is something which liberates us from fear. Well, these facts are important. It doesn't fly over. I need to touch it. When I touch it, it should enter my body. So eyes, nose, mouth are the three locations they can go in. That's why we wear masks. Right? So have a sensible understanding about that. Then the fear disappears. I'm not scared about COVID. You know what is important most is, can I develop immunity in me? The immunity which helps me to fight COVID much better than other things. There's a lady, 99-year-old lady, came out of COVID situation. And she says, well, I am healthy. I ate well, exercise well, and my mind is happy. That's the most important thing. Mind is something. Mind is everywhere. I don't say brain is here. Okay, mind is a concept. Brain is an organ. So can I understand that keeping my mind healthy is the only way to enhance my immunity? If my mind is clogged and mind is completely with fear, my resilience will take a beating. Can I understand that is a question? Then finally, I need to ask you, how much do you sleep? Sleep is something which is very important to the body, for our bodies. Very important. Research says a normal adult requires 6 hours of sleep on an average. 6 to 7 hours of sleep is a must. So healthy food, good sleep makes a body healthy. That's important. How can we do that? How can we enhance that? That's the power we have within us, our mind. Let's make the mind strong. How can we do that? The question. Every problem, when it comes, if our mind is not healthy, we get stuck. A problem, if I give you a formula for the problem, it is P for the problem is equal to O plus O. There are two O's I'm giving. P is equal to O plus O. One O is an objective goal. Second O is an obstacle. So when there is objective, one goal is there, and that goal is blocked by an obstacle, I have a problem. If I only goal, no obstacle, there's no problem. If I only obstacles, there is no problem again. I don't know where to go. So both are important there. What's my goal? Am I clear about my goal? In anything, even in relationship, what is my goal? What are the obstacles to reach that goal? If I identify these obstacles, it's easy. Then mind becomes healthy. So keep your mind healthy for a joyful living. That's our tagline, actually. So I invite you to visit our website, invite you to visit our webpage. Just have a look. See our videos every day. Like them, share them. You get something to improve your resilience, mind power, and your health. I'm open for the questions now. Okay. We'll spend some time on the questions. That's what I was told by my friend Farita. She said, please give them some time for questions. They are very intelligent students of mine. And she said, these are really smart students. Huh? Okay, who would like to ask questions?
Sir, can I ask, please?
Yes, Satya.
So you said you should not fear. I mean, why do we fear COVID?
Can't hear Satya. Maybe.
So can can you hear
Yeah,
me now?
you can. All right, you can type the question also. I can see that. Okay, Satya, I have a question, please. Oh, you have written there. Oh, that is Satya Govius. Right, just type the question. I get it here. No problem.
Can I ask my question?
Govius, yes.
When it comes to problems, when I have to deal with my family members,
yeah,
I have courage and determination.
Yes.
But when it comes to problems with myself, I have problems. How do I deal with that?
Brilliant question. When it comes to my family members, I have courage and determination. Okay, or courage and confidence, everything. When it comes to myself, what happens to you when it comes to yourself?
I don't have these qualities. I lose courage and I lose focus.
Okay, before that, what do you think? When you're in a problem, what do you think about yourself?
I feel I'm useless.
Ah, that's it. That is the feeling, correct? And the feeling is the belief. Remember that. It's the belief which is the program you have. And the output remains depending on the program what you have. Have you heard this this story of the elephant? How they train the elephants, you know? They tie a chain to the calf's leg, correct? Little chain. And the calf pulls the chain and thinks that it cannot. And it grows up, becomes a huge elephant, but the chain remains the same. Even then, if the elephant wants to go, it can go, but it doesn't go because it is anchored to that chain. So maybe Govius, Miss or Mrs., whatever it is. So Govius, you can, your name is Sitra, right? Sirha.
My name is Saira.
Oh, Sarah. Oh, how do you spell it?
S-Y-R-H-A.
Oh, yes, S-Y-R-H-A. Sarah. Okay, Sarah. Right. Sarah, now ask yourself, where have you got this belief that I'm useless? Don't answer this question, please. Ask yourself, where all I felt useless. Is it like 90% of my life I'm useless, or 10%? Ask yourself. Now, quickly, I want you to, today when you go to bed, what you do is, think of all the things what you did well. Think of all the challenges you faced well. And go to bed. Is that okay? Sarah?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
And that's the way you slowly try to change the program. Right. But there is yet another way. Using NLP techniques, we can change it in one session completely. It's so powerful. Okay. Like, for example, sometimes people tell me how quickly I can come out of a bad feeling. Okay. Now, I'll give you a simple first aid. Okay. All of you look up like that. Look up, sitting there. Look up to the ceiling and try to get into a negative feeling. If you succeed, let me know. Look up. Your head must go up. Eyes must go up. Okay, now look down to your right. Look down to your right. Look down to your right and try to get into a negative feeling. Down to your right, not my right, your right. Okay, tell me now. Somebody tell me where it is easy to get into a negative feeling. Up or down?
Down.
Huh?
Down.
Sarah, you are absolutely right. Next time when you feel bad, only thing what you need to do is look up. That's it. When somebody is crying, no, just do this. Ask them to look up. The tears will dry in no time. Simple. Okay. Very simple first aid to move up immediately. Okay. Next question. Satya, you are asking a question. I'm not getting it. How to handle, irritate students. Wow, this is interesting. Sarva Mangala. Right. How to handle irritated students. Well, when do you get irritated, Sarva Mangala? Can you tell me? Or I'm asking everybody. Okay, you don't have to answer this. Ask yourself, when do I get irritated?
Hello,
When
sir.
things do not, huh?
Hello, sir. Am I audible,
When
sir?
do we, Sarva Mangala, okay, tell me, when do you get irritated?
Yes,
Huh?
sir. In my class, 1 to 3rd Nalikali students are there, sir. They are
No,
repeating.
forget about them. I'm asking you.
Yes,
When do you get irritated?
sir. When my children repeat
No,
my words again and again, sir. When I told, please keep quiet, they are also repeating me. Keep quiet, like this. Sometimes.
Okay. Wow.
In my class.
Okay. So you get irritated, right?
Not irritated, sir. They are disturbing the other students also. Somewhat I'm troubling in that incidents. That's
Okay. Okay. What resource might help there? Irritation is helping you?
No, sir.
Right. It won't help, right? Correct. I would say, in my teachers program, I tell people, when students repeat whatever you say, well, I would be very creative in handling that situation. Correct. I would say, wow, you are like parrots repeating whatever I say. Fantastic. I have so many parrots. Make it as a joke. It might work at that some situations. You need to be creative, Sarva Mangala. Okay. Because we immediately lose the flexibility. We get angry. Correct. You understand?
Right, sir. Right. You're right.
That's what happens. Try. I'm not giving you suggestion, but ask yourself, what can I do in that situation? What works? What works for Leo Lobo will not work for you. Remember that. And what works for you may not work with me. I need to discover my own pattern. That's important. Okay. Well, I have one more. Savita SG is asking me, how can we come out of failure situation? Oh, this is interesting. How can I come out of failure situation? My question is, why do I need to come out of failure situation? Huh?
Sir, can I talk in Kannada?
Yes, Savita, yak barbek horge. Okay,
Hello,
this is
sir.
a simple question, but the
Hello, sir. ಈಗ
okay.
failure.
Now, I would rather ask myself.
ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಏನೋ ಒಂದ್ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಫೇಲ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ.
Okay. Savita, let me answer. Is that okay? Okay. Now, Savita, I'm asking. I failed somewhere. All right.
Hi, yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. I'll answer that question. Sir. I wouldn't come out of the failure situation. Definitely. I would experience that disappointment. Definitely. Well, I remember I wrote IPS examination for the first time. I cleared my prelims, one shot, no problem. Second, I didn't clear because I was going through some other situations in my life, right? And my attention was drawn there, and I failed. Lot of disappointment. That was one thing I wanted in my life, to become an IPS officer. Well, went through, real, went through that feeling of a shitty feeling, you say, oh, every time what, didn't speak to people, etc., etc. Actually, what I was doing, I was fighting the waves. Then I realized, I say, what the big deal? Twice I wrote, I didn't succeed, so what? Then I asked myself, what is the learning? Then I said, I didn't concentrate on my studies because something else was happening in my life. Right? Lot of attention was drawn there. So I said,
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, I said, this teaches me something very powerful. That my focus, when it goes somewhere else, I'm not focusing here. That's the reason why I didn't do. Well, next time, whatever I did, well, that learning became powerful. Every failure gives me some learning. So I'm not scared about failing. That's important. So when a student does mistake,
yes, sir.
feel happy. Wow, you're doing mistake, because most of us are scared of doing mistakes. And that makes us non-resilient. Okay? When you fall down, first time, okay, you hurt. Second time, you get up. Third time, you fall down.
Sir.
Okay, so what? Very important. Good. Any other question? Let me see.
Failure is a step of success. No,
That's what they say, stepping stone.
Failure is a step
Okay, the
of
quote is very nice, but I
success.
would say I experienced that failure. I experienced the disappointment. That's important. Important for my life. Let me experience it and say, okay, what do I do with that now? Do I have a choice? That's all. I have a choice. Okay, do I keep cribbing about it all the time? Now I train IPS officers. I train in the parliament. Well, I thank God I did not become an IPS officer. I would have missed a chance to meet so many IPS officers and train them, according to my understanding. Okay. So, let the failure happen. Let me experience that failure. Okay. Then, okay, though I am optimistic person, why at times we think negative, sir? That's Divya Pinto is asking me. Huh? Okay. My answer to you is positive and negative coexist, right? If there is no night, I wouldn't be able to find the value of the day. Ask yourself, what is that drawing you for the negative? Are you focusing your attention more on the negative? One girl came to me. She said, every time I go on the stage, I tell myself, I'm not doing well, and that motivates me. Okay, I'm not doing well, others are doing well, etc., etc. Then I told her, okay, that's interesting. I asked her, how much energy you are wasting in doing that? She said, terrible. Night I don't sleep. I suffer. I eat less, everything. Then I gave her another method. How about thinking about your successes? Last time when you spoke, what happened? Think of only those things and see what happens. Go with those feelings. She said, effortlessly things changed. Simple thing. Some of us focus on the negatives just to make us think positive. It is not a very good idea at all. It's like I make Mercy go down. Oh, we are on the same level. I want to feel good, so I put her down. So I am at a higher level. Really not a good idea. So if I want to go up, I use the resources and go up. That's it. I don't have to compare myself to anybody. Have I answered you, Mercy? Mercy Divya Pinto.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, Mercy. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes. Any other question? I think we are running out of time. The Farita will chase me out. Okay, 11:30 now. Okay, any other question? Ask. Let me see. Somebody is coming in. There are some questions. Okay. All right. Some questions. Well, I have answered them in the process. Not. Okay. Okay. Some appreciations are there. Huh?
One last one, Leo.
Yeah, move it.
Leo, one last one.
Oh, Farita, sorry.
They are asking about.
Okay.
Stage
Stage
fright.
fright.
They are
Okay.
asking about stage fright.
Right. Now, stage fright basically is, we call it as generalized experience. Okay. I stand up in front of the audience. I get frightened. I don't do anything. I'm a failure, second failure, third. 3 events if you have, that's enough. Brain generalizes. I'm not a good speaker. I remember as teachers, you know, there's a teacher, I told you, teachers touch the lives of the people. There's one teacher touched my life. I remember I was in the 4th standard and I was supposed to make a speech on an Independence Day, on that Independence Day, our Independence Day. So, because everybody at home were good speakers and all that, I was only good in studies, nothing else, no extracurricular activities, but teacher wanted me to do it. So I was prepared well at home. They gave me 2-page material. That's in Kannada. So I started talking, okay, at home, speech by hearting. I knew every sentence from top to bottom and reverse also. That much I knew. Went on that day, stood under the flag, national flag, and just started speaking. My first sentence was, Ivattu Namma Swatantra Dinacharane. Fantastic, it came. But second sentence didn't come. Third is coming, fourth is coming, fifth is coming, all that is coming. Second is not coming. Somehow I tried, nothing came. I started sweating, I started doing everything. You know, my brother was in the same school, he was in 7th standard. He was screaming at me that he was doing. I was much more scared. So he was the hero of the school. Now that played on my mind. Only thing I did not do was wetting my pant. That's all I didn't do that, but everything else happened. I came out. What teacher did was very significant for me. You know what she did? She tapped just held the hand like this and said, don't worry, Leo. No problem. Next time you'll do that. Those, don't worry, Leo. Next time you'll do well. 2 sentences made all the difference in my life. Just 2 sentences. And she touched my life from there. Today I've addressed 2,000, 3,000 people. No problem. So, as a teacher, find an opportunity to touch the lives of the people. So when you are scared on the stage, ask yourself, what are those events I'm focusing? If the fear comes, pay attention to the fear. Fine, I'm scared, true. Fine. Fear can be used positively. Before the exam, you have a fear. Sure, use it positively. Yeah. Ask yourself, what is the fear for? There's nothing, no feeling is bad. Fear has a positive intention. Fear actually comes to protect us. I have a fear of darkness. It protects us. To cross the road, I better have the fear. Imagine I say, hey, who has the fear? I just walk. Right? What will happen? Better have the fear on the road. That fear is very healthy. So not all fears are bad. We generalize it. Oh, fear means bad. Even COVID fear is healthy, protects you from infection. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, if you happen to meet any NLP person, you know, you can use a simple technique of NLP to overcome stage fear, just like that. A lot of techniques are there, and we are using them. right? More of it, just visit our website. You learn a lot. See our videos, you learn a lot. Good. Okay. No more questions are coming. Fine. I hope your time spent well. I hope so. Oh, Sarvamangala is giving me Hawkins' story. Yes, Sarvamangala, right. That's right. Okay. Saira Govias is giving me one compliment. Thank you, Saira, but I'm not that. Anyway, thank you. All right. Farita, is that fine? Anything you want me to do, Farita? My friend will be, she's my friend. And she asked me, my teachers, please address. I said yes. So that's what I'm here. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being with me. And I've enjoyed being with you. Well, it was great to be with you and share with you some of my thoughts. Anisha is coming in. Anisha is supposed to be the MC, right? Good job, Anisha.
Yes,
right.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It was indeed a wonderful session. Your session on developing personal resilience was indeed a fresh perspective to look at situations we go through in life. I personally got connected to 3 words, that is thoughts, feelings, and behavior, and how these are interconnected. I'm sure many will agree with what you said. That is, resilience is learned and we model the same. So as we are on the threshold of being future teachers, we will try our best to be the right role model to our students, not just in words, but in actions as well. So thank you so much, sir. So here we come to an end of the webinar. Gratitude is a powerful catalyst for happiness. It's the spark that lights a fire of joy in your soul. I call upon Sister Javita Pais to extend the vote of thanks.
It is my privilege to owe my gratitude to Professor Leo Lobo, the speaker of the session, Developing Personal Resources to Build Up Resilience. Sir, thank you for enlightening and giving us the remedy to bounce back and cope up in times of stress that is caused by the various twists and turns of life. Thank you for all the words of experience and wisdom that radiated source of energy in us. On behalf of our institute and participants, I extend a heartfelt thanks to you, sir. My sincere thanks to Dr. Farita Vegas, the principal of our college, for this astonishing opportunity. Madam, your quality of life is love and patience. Your positive attitude helps us to unfold ourselves fully as and when it required. With grateful heart, I thank you, Madam. I express my thanks to Mrs. Delna Lobo, Vice Principal, Mrs. Joshna Webnia in charge, and all our teachers who always encourage us immensely to benefit out of every academic activity. Thanks to each one of you. A deep sense of appreciation and sincere thanks to the members of the Students' Council and all the participants for their active involvement throughout the session. I am sure this session will help each one of us to move on actively and courageously. Once again, thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Sister Javita. I hope this session was beneficial in developing various personal resources to bounce back from the failures, as well as to focus on emphasizing the positive. Thank you, dear participants, for making today's session a huge success through your active participation, and I wish you all a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.